Good morning, RJ. Good morning, Blake, and good morning, my friends out in the world. I hope everyone's having a good day. I'm looking forward. My name is Bobby Fisher. I'm looking forward to the webinar today. You see me okay, RJ?
Yes, sir. You're good to
How's my
go.
sound?
Sounds good. Picture's good.
Oh, thank you for telling me I look good. I appreciate that. All right, I'll get my
I said the picture was good.
All right, my friends. So we're going to get started today, and what we're working on at this point is drag and drop production layout. And if I can get this going, here we go. So I'm kind of excited about this. This is probably I really enjoyed this part of IronCAD. And there are a number of webinars that we're doing. So I'm going to be showing today how you can learn IronCAD quickly. And the claim to fame is twice as fast as SolidWorks or any other conventional CAD system. So that's what we're going to be working on today, is laying out a factory that looks like this. And the main points that I want to stress about drag and drop design is that drag and drop's intelligence snaps engineering components into place quickly and easily. And that's the very first thing that I want to show you all. So I'm going to go into some simple examples. I don't want to start out with the most complex, but I want to work into it. So I'm going to go, this is today what we will be working on. This is our live assembly, and this is where we should be able to end up today. So you'll see something like this. But before we get there, I want to show you a few examples. Here's one of a very, very simple little assembly. And what's kind of neat with this one, it lets me show you some really exciting, this one, for example, I added some animation. I don't know how well you can see that. You can see that pretty well, RJ, right? Coming over the internet.
Yes, yeah, everything looks good.
And the reason I'm showing this, because, people say, well, what does this have to do with, any kind of layout? Well, what's interesting about what I've done here is in our assembly modeling, the idea that we have this ability to do very simple control where I can, you see this animation I'm dragging right now? And the question is, well, how difficult is it to, when I talk about, remember, the topic today is not the animation, but how drag and drop intelligence snaps components into place quickly and easily. So to show you how that works here, I'm going to actually this is a customer catalog that we created to show somebody how to build these pistons. So first thing I'm going to do is just simply grab a holding plate, put it into position, just to show you all how we can do this. And if I look at this, perhaps from the top, I'm going to move this plate over here. Oh, that one's fixed. See this? It's actually not allowed to move because it's been fixed in space automatically, which was interesting because it was being dropped into a position. No big deal. I just want to move it and put it at the same height as this one. Thank you very much. So they're now on the same plane. And how difficult will it be to put in the crankshaft? Well, here's the neat thing. When I bring in this crankshaft and drop it, I'm dropping it with the rightmost button because it has a number of different ways that it can connect. See these? And I'm looking at it, I'm going, this is great. Well, this is the one I want. Now it's automatically being connected, but some other really interesting things have happened, and we'll talk about that in a moment. So once I've started on this, I can just simply come in and drag and drop these things. They know not just how to connect, but they know something else very, very interesting, and I'm excited to show that to you. For example, when I dropped this here, it automatically said, this is a coincident constraint, and it knows that it has to stay rotationally locked. So if I now come into the mechanism mode, what I'm doing on this is, oh, I forgot to fix it. So I had it fixed, but go ahead, fix this so it doesn't move. And now when I'm in mechanism, if I move this, notice what's happening, starting to get this rotation. So as I'm working, you'll see very easily how these, and then I'll lock this later. And what happens is that gets locked because if I move this, see how it's moving this way? Well, later it will be locked because as this one moves, it's attached to the piston that can only move straight up and down. I'm only showing this to you so you understand the really great tools that we have built into the product. And one of these is something, which is our, these are the, my attachment points. So I just want to make you aware of how these attachment points work. And we're going to spend more time working on those as time goes on. So that's one thing I wanted to show you. Again, I just snap those into place and they have intelligence. Let me show you one other example before we jump in here, because I've got some pretty magnificent robots, and if I zoom into this one area over here, you know, I can again go back into that mechanism mode, as you can see, and you know, simply grab on any of these elements, pick them up and move them around as we move into the system. Wait just for a second. This is a rather large assembly, so it's checking something out. I believe I've turned this off. Yeah, I did. Well, let me get back to this one. Just while that's calculating, I'll come back to it in a second. I wanted to show you how we put these robots together, because I think that's kind of fascinating as well. So let's go into the robot Fanuc library. And if I just drag and drop this out, you'll see. So I'm pulling one robot directly from the library, popping on the screen. Here it is, and let's just F8 or pull into position. Now, in the same way that I did that little assembly you saw before, I also have the ability here to do this kind of thing where I say, okay, I want to go into mechanism mode on this, and no, I don't want to use collision detection, but you'll notice if I grab this, I can now drag and move this robot around. And the question is, well, how difficult was it to actually, you know, create that and work on this type of thing? Well, check this out. As I go through here, I can come in and say, you know, I don't want you here. Don't want this one. And I'm just going to actually show you how easy it is to recreate this. So start out, here's our mount. What do? I'm in the Fanuc library. Go ahead and grab the shoulder. And the shoulder will automatically snap into place because there is a attachment point that gives it the instructions, and this is some of the intelligence. And now if we go into the mechanism mode now, you'll notice that, stop. Just, again, I'm not fixing things, so you need to be fixed. And now in mechanism mode, if you'll notice, this can only rotate. You see? So as I'm adding new things to this, you'll see some really neat technology. If I want to speed things up, I'm just going to put an arm here real quick. So I've added the arm, and now what new rotations did that add? Well, if I look at this and move this one around, as you can see. So this is, again, it's adding this intelligence as we go along. So what really want folks to understand is that these drag and drop intelligence can snap components in very quickly. So how are we going to use that to, you know, create a production layout? Show you exactly how. How are we going to get to this point? Well, let's get back into this guy. Oh, by the way, it was just waiting for me. This is, if I want to look at this robot, I'm moving this one in space. So you can see I'm actually looking at it. And if I want to, you know, there's all sorts of things. Oh, don't move like that, you silly Bobby. That's not right. Undo that one. So as you can see, again, this is the work I'm doing on this particular model. I'm able to get in there. Let me get back and let's start over again on this. And let's actually look at how we would come in here, and we'll actually start from scratch in here. Don't want any of these. And let's bring in a real automation toolkit and show you how to put together. All right, so I have a layout here that was given to me by Henrik from Makarna in Sweden, one of our most valuable, trusted resellers who have worked with the product for a long time. So we're actually going to lay out this, and I'm using this very smart, as you can see, we've got a really cool catalog over here. And what this catalog allows me to do is say, well, I'm going to lay out a machining cell. So first thing is, I'm going to look in my catalog, I'm going to grab the CNC machine, and I'm going to put it into position. Oh, there it is, full machine. Well, let's look at it. I use my F7 to look at it from the top. And, well, I really would prefer that that machine be facing the other way, so I just use the tri-ball to pick it up, turn it around. And this is where I can do some very simple things like, you know, again, come in and say, that's perfect, and look at this from the top, and move this into it. And I'm not going to be super careful here. I'm just, at the moment, of course, I can measure distances and things, but I'm just putting this into position. I've placed my first part, okay? And as you can see, it's over here. Good. There's the CNC machine. And there's something interesting about this as well. I've noticed this is not my geometry, don't really know much about it, but I know that I have a door here, and as I was playing with it, I noticed that the door and the handle were two separate parts. So I've highlighted both of them, right click and hit assemble, and that's how easy and it is to create an assembly or a sub-assembly, and I'm going to call this the door assembly. So I got that done, and why did I want to do that? Well, because I just want to open this door. Go ahead. Here's some simple tools. I'll take the tri-ball, snap it to the back, move my tri-ball to the front of the door just for fun, lock it into position, and say open to the front where the chuck sits. So I've opened this up, and the reason I did that is because I want to be able to determine a safe work envelope. What am I going to do? I need a robot. Let me go grab a Sea of Brown Bovary robot and place it right here. Good. Got it into position. And there's the open door, so I'm going to move that, and I want my robot to be just about there because we're going to have a conveyor on both sides. Excellent. That's where I want that. Good. So that's the first part. Now, after I put my robot into position, as you can see here, I need a conveyor system. So again, I want to look at this right from this position, and now I'm going to grab a conveyor here and just put it on the bottom floor. So it's like I'm building little Lego pieces. I'm working with this, and anytime I want, bring up my tri-ball. Oh, that didn't go quite the direction I wanted. Turn it 180. Great. And this is where I can do things like this, where I can say, gosh, I really need this exact. I like where it is, but I want to measure from the front face of this part. Oh, it's 40, I only want that a foot away. So I'm measuring exactly that this is now 1 foot. And it's that easy to do it. Like, this is kind of fun. I'm not, and I can see that this is going to work well. Well, this is for bringing the parts to and from. I'm going to have two sides of this conveyor system. Well, remember we talked about these attachment points? They have some pretty great intelligence. This is an attachment point. This is a female connection, and if it wanted to, we could add the constraints in here at any time. So I'm actually not too worried about that. What I'm doing now is I'm leaving it highlighted, and I'm going to say, I need to turn a corner here. And so what will happen is I've selected the part, and I'm actually building an assembly as we go. See, I've kept this highlight, so I need to turn the corner fully. So I'm going to grab this again, and all I'm doing, by the way, it's really fairly simple. I'm just touching near, and it's automatically snapping these things together. And what I like about this is it makes it kind of easy for me to just put them into position and build the assembly as I go along. There's a lot of material and a lot of interesting things that are happening. So good. Put that into position. Well, if this is the end that loads the machine, I need something to have the spare parts on and stuff like that. So let me put another robot right on the end. I'm going to look at it from the top. And same type of robot, I think. I'm going to grab this ABB, and I'm going to be a little bit more precise with the way I place this now. So this is where I can use the cleverness of the tri-ball. This is set right in the middle, and I want this to be located right in the middle of this conveyor. So I can just say, you know what? Make it really simple. I don't know where the outside is. There's one outside. There's the other outside. Thank you very much. Just be in the middle of that. And that's a good position for me. And now I need to put something into position right beside it. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to grab these are for parts. And oh, by the way, something I forgot to tell you. You have questions, go ahead and use the chat window. And we have, that's why I'm talking to you. I just want to see my face. We have two of our colleagues standing by, so if you have any questions, use the chat window. We'll either answer them, they'll answer them live, or they'll answer them after the webinar. But RJ Saucier and Blake are both standing by to answer questions, so I look forward to that as we go. All right, I'm having fun with this. How you doing? How you liking this, RJ? Is it cool?
Yep, it's coming along good.
Great. All right, so let's put this into position. I do want to put a table right here. And I think, I want to move this over. And notice these handles. Notice how easy to sort of get a rough position on this. I'm putting this table in. Oh, table's the wrong way because I need a forklift to come in and load this. So let's turn this around 90 degrees. And I actually want to locate this corner right off this corner so I can say, okay, move this. I want this to be as well a distance from this side right here. And, 12 inches is good. That's perfect. And while I'm setting it there, one of the things that I really want to be careful about as well is that the robot can reach all the different areas. So this is a time where I do want to check how well I've done. So let me just pop in this and notice what's happening. As soon as I pop that, it moves into position because it has an attachment point. So now I want to be able to make sure that what I've done here is going to work. So in my mechanism mode, again, I can look at this front part, and if I want to drag it, I can, let me just see. So I'm actually looking and saying, well, can this, if I look at this from the top, can this actually reach all over? And I'm seeing, oh gosh, it's got some, no, it can't reach. So I've already determined that the way I set this up very quickly wasn't absolutely right. And just so everyone knows, I'm not intending to do that. That was just, I'd intended this to, work perfectly the first time, but oops, I don't know why that happened. Undo that and undo it again. Let me grab, because I'm moving one, let me grab them both. And you know what, rotate this 90, thank you. And now good enough. And I'm going to move this into a closer position. This one, I picked the wrong corner there. And now I'm just, because I don't want to spend a lot of time, but you'll be able to see that very quickly now that I've made that change. And I like this idea that, okay, I need to move this. And you can see I'm not going to use the tribal. Now, very quickly, I've determined these envelopes. So it's kind of a neat way to work. And for anyone, watching, that is, right away, I was able to use this directly drag, drop, and I can, was able to determine what is that safe movement, okay? And something important that I want people, as you're watching this and as we're working on this together, that I want you to see. I'm setting this up, so yep, everything is working. This would be in the right position, guaranteed to work. Might as well pick this up now, and rather than hunt and peck and look for commands, I'm just going to use the tribal to say, I want to borrow this, please. I want to create a copy of it. I don't care. Just go over 100 inches. It's no big deal. I'm creating a copy of what I've done. And the reason I did that is that now I can move this one and say, oh, this is for the finished parts. So I've got one for the, these are the parts where I'm loading, and I'm using the same technology. And if I want to come in and make sure, this would be where I pick the parts up. So I would be able to come in and say, well, I want to pick the parts up with this robot, load them into the machine, and then drop them here, and all this weird stuff that I'm doing. I'm turning my poor robot inside out. But you see the idea. Put this back, good. You see the idea. I'm very quickly able to determine these things. And as we're working, I can all right, got this, got that done. All right, what's the next step of this? Well, I've got robots in place. So if I have robots, I do need someone to watch over them. So a real quick idea now is that I can go and grab the robot control system. And I'm going to plop it in right here. And I'm going to be a little bit faster now. So I'm just going to look at this from the top. And I'm enjoying using this mechanism, by the way, for the F7. Just lets me very quickly put things in 180. Nope, turn it 45 degrees. This will be, oh, Bobby, stop. This way. Go right there. As you can see, by the way, I don't actually need to use the drywall. I can actually, here's another fact that people may or may not know. This has been set up in a way that I don't actually need the drywall either. If I just want to make a minor adjustment, I can come in here and I can just move this around, move it into position just like that. Okay, so I'm working up a workspace for what? I'm working a workspace for a human being. So, well, why not just drop a human being so I can see, how this actually works for this gentleman who's going to be standing and doing my work. There's the actual control panel, and I forgot to give him that so we can actually work with the control panel. And as you can see, this is this idea again. Remember what I did before, the idea that I can just touch? Well, I just want to move him over. I don't even want to bring I'm just creating something. I don't even need the tribal, but there very quickly I've created this control system. And anytime I've got a robot cell, well, what's important? What's important is that it's safe. So, well, I need to put a fence around this. How easy is that? Easy as just putting Legos in place. So let me go in, grab a quick fence, and I'm just going to put it in and drop it right there. And beautiful. And it dropped into position. And watch this. I know that this is the outside edge, so I can just do this. Say, you know what? Move this against the wall. So there's the first thing, and I want it. It has to, be halfway between these two. Why not? I want to just pick up the point from this face here to the face of this, and that fence is now into position. And I've got lots of ways of doing this. I can just now one after the other. Now, if I want to build an assembly of this, I have two pieces. So what I did is I dropped one out here and one here. But if I want to put them together, let me delete that by hitting the delete key. Watch this little trick. I'm going to highlight this one. So if you notice on the left-hand side of the screen, the gallery section was highlighted. It's 1000 by 250 millimeters, which reminds me, I am going to switch into millimeter just for the heck of it. Right in the middle of my job, I was working in inches, but I'm switching right now. And because this is the millimeter part, go ahead, put that into place. Thank you. So all I'm doing now is using my Legos, and as I work, I'm just going to put these into position, one after the other, coming out here, keep going, wonderful, build my whole section, look at it from the top, right in that position. I wonder, I've never tried it this way. I wonder if I can just do it this way. Will it be smart? Oh, that's so much fun. All right. And so that's really neat. I like that. And what if I bring out this other section? Oh, didn't like that guy. So that one obviously wasn't supposed to go there because it just lay down, but I'm going to do this one. And what can I do with it? Oh, notice this wasn't lit up, so it wouldn't add it to the assembly. I want the assembly lit up, so I just undid it and put it here. And now this is kind of neat. So all I want to do here is what? Turn the corner 90 degrees. So I have some great control of how this is going to work. I don't want to go, I want to go back 60. I'm going to do this. I'm going to gradually turn the corner. So as you see me putting this together, it's really, and on this one, because I'm actually bringing this around so this whole thing can work. Give me another 30 degrees from there. And excellent. I've turned my corner. What do I need to do? Just grab these other sections. There we go. And we'll bring these in. Almost done. May seem like this, so it's a very safe area. And am I almost there? Good. So wonderful. I've created, and all of these are added to the bill of material. Now, the reason I'm doing this, what might I also want to be able to do? Let's just make sure I've left a clear drive through here. Want to make, oops, put that in the wrong place. So interesting. I'm going to pick you up. Can I move this with impunity? Will it let me do that? Oh, sorry, undo that. That's in the wrong place. I don't want that guy there. Wait a second. Go away. I'll put that in a moment. I'm going to put him where I want him in a sec. So, added this, put it in. Now, if I like what I've done, and this is where I think things are really kind of neat. If I like what I've created a machining cell. Here's what I think is a very, very clever idea that we can do. So what I'm going to do right now is, I like what I've done. I'm going to take this and say, I want you to grab all of this stuff that we've just created, and I'm going to assemble it. All right. So everything is in one assembly, and this is now called my machining cell. Maybe I'll spell it in good English. How about that? Maybe 2 L's in cell. Okay, so I now have a machining cell. Why is that important to me? Well, this is what I think is really neat. I can actually pick that cell up, and now simply by dropping it into my catalog, I'm actually saving the entire work that I've done in this assembly with all of its appropriate information. And so out here, anytime I want, I'm going to come in and guess what? I didn't want, oh, I forgot to add that little guy. No worries. I don't really care about him. That's the demo effect. And now, why is that cool? Well, because, you know, I bring it in. And so what I've done for all time, I've actually set up a machining cell that I can now use anytime in any factory that I would like. So it's really kind of a neat way of storing that. I didn't include that just while that's waiting. So the idea that I'm actually saving this whole thing that I created, I'm saving it out for use in another design. So I can say, well, I know this is safe, and maybe I want 2 or 3 of these. Okay. Yes, sorry, let me go back here. Yes, enter large assembly mode. And now I have this whole thing set up and ready to go where I can say, oh, no worries. You know, where do I want this? Well, go ahead. I want to turn this around, and I think 90 degrees. And the same kind of thing that I did before, gosh, you know, now I'm doing exactly the same, you know, great work. I had put it on this side, and the reason I knew that, I'd made a little mistake, so I knew that I think my truck was right there. And I had set this whole thing up. Oh, that was a different machine. Oh, wrong one. Sorry, guys. I'm lying to you. Is that the one I made? No, it isn't. Wait for a sec. Oh, I didn't take all of it. Sorry. No worries. I'm showing you the idea anyway of what it can be. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to show you the actual animation. I forgot half of mine. Oh, no, oh, I see, because I got it backwards. That's really cool. Oh, turn it on. Play. Good. So I had actually built it on the wrong side, but you see how easy that was for me to just, I don't care. Not only that, I'm saving this intelligence for another time. I'm saving this intelligence and the things that I've done for, you know, perhaps, and by the way, no big deal, just to say, maybe I did it wrong. You know, that's my fault. Doesn't really bother me. I can make a little mistake and just pick it up and look at, oh, and remember how we snapped this against the wall? Well, watch this. Just bring it in, free it up, go to a point right up here, and watch how easy, oh, I want this position to get against the wall just like it used to be. So in no time at all, we've actually increased the intelligence of our system, and I can still see, yep, this guy's okay. So I've left a nice room there for this to be able to go through the factory at any time. Good. What else might we do here? So that was building that kind of thing. And by the way, I want to show you some really neat moves now, because I'm going to move into a separate part of this presentation. So this, where I was at the moment, is setting this cell up, saving the information. I showed you drag and drop intelligence, snapping things into place, adding those smart catalogs, optimizing the movement and determining safe movement envelopes, and now the integrated animation, because quite frankly, I did make a mistake. It was live, I'll admit it, and I'll let you even see my face. I made a mistake when I started. I put it on the wrong side, but it was so easy just to pick it up, move it, and even save the engineering thought that I had put into it. That engineering thought was now saved forever. All right, well, let's look at some other things that are really, really clever in the IronCAD suite of products. And that's something that I think is really, so we're moving to the next part. This is creating structures. So far what we've done is we've taken components, I created assemblies. But now this is a whole different world. I'm going to actually create some of these structures that are used within the factory. We have a whole library called IC Mechanical that's built in IronCAD, has architectural mechanical tools that expedite production, facility design, and other things. We'll look at that. IronCAD has simplification, and you've seen some of that already, by the way. When I started working with this, and it realized, hey, Bobby, you got a lot of parts in this. What it did is it actually, it took away some of the features of the fantastic rendering and all of that, because it knew that I needed to work easily. And there are a lot of times, and by the way, these parts are really quite complex. These are full assemblies. Everything you're seeing here has piece parts. They're all, all of these piece parts exist. So these are not pictorial. I don't want anyone to mix this up with a pictorial representation that people find on the internet. Say, well, I can design my home. No, this is full engineering data that is included with this. And some of that engineering data is very, very clever. For example, it allows us to do things, as I said, like this, where I can actually put in a racking system. This is really important. Well, I want to be able to draw now. I want to be able to draw parts that in this library I'm going to need to have. Oh, good. There's a racking system that I'm going to start creating. So we're going to look from the top, locate this racking system right over here against the wall. Excellent. And well, but I need lots of tools, not just that one. No worries. It just says, okay, remember the whole idea about the attachment points. They're intelligent, they're clever, they know exactly how to build on this type of thing. So what I'm doing is I'm adding a 3-meter section every time to this, and this quickly I'm designing, a rack that can go in there and say, okay, this is great within the flow of my, good. And that's, what I'm looking, okay, excellent. And by the way, the assembly that I just built can be put into position just like everything else that I do. I want this located right here so that any truck can get in and look at it. So that's a pre-made assembly. And we've got lots of those. Customers can design all those kind of things very easily. Well, what about an assembly that I need to build? And this is kind of neat. So what I'm actually going to do is I want to show you something that we're going to work on. I don't know if I've actually saved this. I was working on something the other day. I want to see if I don't think I saved it out. So let me just see. Maybe I did. I was working last night and just want to see if I had saved something to show you all. Yep. So this is what we're going to be building right now. Oh, I didn't want to do any FEA. So I don't know why FEA is coming up here, but let me just go in and turn that off. We are doing a webinar. Hide my FEA, don't want it. I think I was doing some stress test on this last night, but here's what we're going to be building right now inside the library. So this is the actual part. Of course, if I wanted to, this is one of those neat things right here. If I grab these, and this is just, I'm going to do this just to show off a little bit. I went in here and I could just come here and say something like this, where I just say, okay, I don't know. I just said from that file, I want you to go and grab it and go cut and paste this into position. So I went from a different file and I cut something and I pasted it into position. Another way of doing that is I could have said, well, I don't want all of it. I don't want the all these stairs. Maybe I just want part of it. That was just to show you that we can go from one file to another and just cut and paste pieces. So this is what we're going to be making, but I'd rather show you how we do this live. So let me take it here and cut this out. Good. So you've seen me building these things. RJ, how's the questions going? Are we doing well?
Yeah, we've got a couple. We'll get to those when we get to the end. A couple good questions.
Okay, you liking what you're seeing so far?
Yep, looking good.
All right. So before I actually build that, there's one other thing I wanted to show you before I get into the complexity of that. So we're going to build. The reason I put this rack in here is because I just wanted to show you something very kind of a simple, a little simple thing that I want you all to be able to see. Let me come out of that. Let me just move this over a little bit. The reason I wanted to move that over is I do have another little component that needs to come in here. There's a tank that's coming in. And what that lets me do is it lets me just show you something that part of the mechanical library. I'm going to show you some very complex things, but I want to show you some easier things first so we can understand it. And that's, for example, if I wanted to grab, a piping system, and, I'm not great with this, so I'm just going to grab a collar and put a collar right here. And so what I've done is I'm just putting this little collar. I don't know how big that is. 2.5 inch. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so the diameter is 2.5. This is, if I wanted to do this one, no, do it that way. Perfect. Okay, leave that there. Good. And now go grab a pipe and attach a pipe to this. Hey, why are you not? Oh, thank you very much. Snapped into position. Got the right size of pipe that I want on there. I've got some pipe, and how long do I want that to be? Make that 400 high or something. Build that again. So I put the pipe on here. And this is kind of a neat way to do this because watch, I have this ability, this push and pull, the idea that I'm just grabbing this component as I'm building it and making sure that it can clear this rack. So how high would I want it? I don't really know. I don't know what the rack height is. I just touch the top of the rack and this will automatically calculate where that is. So I'm saving material. Once I've got that done, touch it, go ahead, put this on. Oh, and so I put an angle on there automatically. And, somebody showed me there was a really neat thing that I believe this is, how can I turn this around? Does somebody know how to do that? There was an easy way to, oh, there, just like that, hit that button. So I have fun with this myself, folks. So this is kind of this is this way of just, I'm actually building this live as I go, and it's putting all the correct components in. And I wanted this to go to the end, all the way to the end of this. Then it's got to turn a corner because it's clear I'm putting it over this rack. And then I need to turn a corner down here. And so you're just watching me kind of, as again, with these Legos, bringing it out of a library, bringing these things in, see the automation tools, that's perfect. And now I can grab one more and have it, of course, exhaust through this. And if I needed to actually have it, yep, that's perfect. And I want it to exhaust to the outside, I'll cut a hole through later, whatever. And now I've got my pipe coming through the wall here, however much I want it to be, and I'll cut that hole and I've got piping. So there's one mechanical idea that I'm showing you real quick. All right, another one. Well, now let's build those stairs. So that's part of this mechanical library, has lots of things to help us work. All right, there's a simple snapping together. And so far, as you've seen, by the way, folks, unlike SolidWorks, I don't need complex or difficult constraints because our eSmart catalogs can optimize that placement. As you've seen, it just, I was able to just snap together. All right, here's for me the most exciting new thing we've added, and that's in the IC mechanical library is the steel stairs. So this is a way to create stairs, in the product directly. So I know that I want to have these stairs located here, and I'm going to turn them around at the moment. I'm just going to put them in 90 degrees. Oh, other way. Sorry. Come on. Sorry. Turn that back on. They went the wrong way. I know they're 180. I want them facing that way. Great. So what have I started out with? Well, I started out the length of these stairs, 2,000. Well, I'm going to make it 3 meters by, and I guess I can also drag on these handles because that's another neat thing. I want it also 3 meters high. Good. Excellent. So I've got 3 meters by 3 meters. Great. And there's the slope angle. I want these lateral elements. What steps do I want? I can come in and choose any of these kind of things. And what I did is yesterday, I can choose all sorts of different steps. Do I need an industrial step? So the idea that, do I want something that has, I'm going to leave it where it is right now and say, go ahead, build this thing for me. And so it's now putting together the mezzanine that I've measured down here. My landing is going to the left. I wanted it to be 3 meters by 4 meters. There it is. Excellent. Go ahead. Leave it there. I like what I've done to start with. Better put that into a better position. So I'm saying, okay, move this over a little bit. Now, this is where I'm going to add, this has just built this stair for me. I'm going to add something a little, this is kind of neat. I need the railings. So let's do this. We want to work on these steel stairs right now. So I'm just going to say, you know what? Hide everything and let's just work on these. So what's our first move? Well, we need railings. Now this is going to be automated at some point, but this lets me show you some tremendous capability. Put a railing on this side. Bobby, where do you want that railing to be? Well, I want it to be right in the middle there. How many rails do you need going up? I need 10. I want it to start 100 millimeters from here. Good enough. Go ahead. Show me what that railing is going to look like. Oh, excellent. This is what I was working on yesterday. Do I want this middle section here because it's showing me, do I want an intermediate rail? I don't need it. So take it away. Good. Done. There's the first rail. Done. I like it. Well, let's do this rail as we walk around. Let's do the whole darn thing as we're going. So give me a rail right here. And, oh, I want this rail. Now you notice I want it right in the center. So go ahead, pick it up, move it right in the center of this. Perfect. And I don't care. I don't even need to check it. I know this is going to be great because, you know, oh, there's an interesting problem for us. These two are not properly joined. So how do I get it to get these two joined exactly the way I want? You know, I need, oops, sorry. I have a little zoom issue here. All right. So I want here other tools. I come right in and I say, I want these two, I want this one, right, this guy right here. I want that to join to this fellow. And I want that to be this type, a type 1 joint. Great, thank you. Excellent work, let's move around. Next one, and I'll just keep going through this. Put another railing right here. You didn't, I can tell you didn't go in the way I wanted you to. So this is actually, for me, this is really fun working this way. You go there. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know why it's not giving me my tri-ball. Kind of bugs me. I want that. What's that?
I zoom out.
Yeah, I just wanted to give me my tri-ball here. I was mad at it, you know, because I just want this to be in the middle. So what I'm doing is I'm being careful. And if you'll notice, I'm locking it into position. Don't really need to do that. I can just pick this point up and say, you know, move it. I want this point to be in the center of this whole thing. Actually, it's not snapping, so I'll just measure. From the outside face, from this face to, oops. I get myself all mixed up to the inside edge. Sorry, guys. It is the internet giving me hiccups with being able to pick. And there. Okay, good. And do that one, done. And as I finish, as you see me working on these, you'll notice that, oh gosh, even after the fact, oh, this guy right here, he needs to be connected. So I want you to connect this. Yeah, this fellow right there with this fellow. Little bit of a different blend, right? Good. Excellent work. Love the way this is working for me. It's great. And I'll just finish this real fast and we'll be done in a jiffy. So I'll move you over. Thank you very much. You're finished. And then I'm almost done this entire thing. Now I believe, RJ, there was talk that this was going to be automatically in the future. This was going to be done with the stairs, I understand. Have you heard anything about that?
I have not. I'd have to verify that with Mauricio.
Yeah. but it's really neat. You know, I love the way this is, you know, it comes together, and there's some very interesting things you can do with it, because as the railings go on here, same thing again, move it into the middle, kind of fiddly for me. If I zoom in, it works better. Oh, it doesn't. Oh, here's a neat trick. I learned this yesterday. So there was a diagonal line here. I just say, I don't care. Just put it there. So now that's where it's done, and it's done. See, it's really kind of a neat thing. Each time I can get there, it's a very easy way to work with this thing. Okay. You arguing with me? I want you to extend this. Perfect. This guy right here at the top has to meet this fellow right there. Beautiful. What? Why are you arguing? This one. Oh.
You grabbed the tube.
I know it couldn't, for some reason it couldn't do it. I don't know why. So, last thing, we're almost done. We have a tiny little rail here, which is interesting. And this shows the real power. I just want one. And give me a 50 start and nothing here. This is a tiny little rail. And you know what? I can check it before I go anywhere. Check to see what I've done. There's a simple little rail right there. Perfect. Shows me exactly what I want it to do. And that's kind of neat, as you can see, these two. It's a very clever little thing to work with. So I'm working on this. Did you get that top rail? Yes, you did. And I wish I could go faster on this, but I'm being careful. So there we are, almost finished, last rail, and I'll bring everything back. Excellent, great work. And we'll just move this one into position, and it's right in the middle. And this has 10. Notice I do need to fix that and make it 100. So all of these were custom. Every single one was custom made, and I'm pretty excited about what I've done. Good work. And we're almost finished. And all we have to do is join these together, and we've created completely custom staircase in really no time at all. Hey, why you keep arguing with me? I keep selecting the wrong things, RJ. It's you know, I can't even claim it's too early in the morning for me. All right, let's look at that. So we created our railing system. Oh, bring back everything else, show all. Oh, that won't stand up very well. So, well, we have another library over here. Go ahead. We have an actual architectural library where all I would need to do is go bring in a pillar. Put a pillar right here. Oh, that's cool. It's a rectangular pillar, 200 by 200, 3 high. And no problem, I can change it later. Just say go ahead. So I've added a pillar to this thing, and now let's come in and say, I want this pillar. Let me move it over, look at it from the top. Oops. Take the wrong thing, look at this from the top, and move my pillar over. And by the way, this is kind of neat where I can actually get in here and say, you know what? I don't want this up there. I actually want to move this to this far corner. Hey, don't you argue with me. Get up here. You have to control your tribal. You know, you got to talk to it, right? And I really want to maybe put this right out of the way. I'm just going to say that corner is going to be located right on that point. And so now when I grab this fellow, all I need to do is pull him down. Watch that. Boom. Put a pillar right in the right location where I want it. And so as you can see, I'm building this live and being able to see this. Got to go right into position. And now, well, now I can use the tri-ball to say, well, where's the next one going to go? Okay, use the right mouse button, and I want another one right here. And give me a link and move that over 3 meters. Not 3,000 meters, 3 meters, good. And check this out. I've got these two pillars here. I've got this one, and I got this one that I put into place, but I need a couple more. So go ahead, just push this out. And oops, wrong way, Bobby, don't do that. If I highlight both of these, so what am I going to do? I'm picking this one and shift picking this one. So I'm grabbing both of them at the same time. If I use my right mouse button, it brings up a menu, and I can say, I want to create two copies that are 2 meters apart. And this quickly, there you go. I've added my foundation right out of the library. Okay. So you can see, we've got some really interesting things that we've done today. I've been able to draw and use these different things very, very quickly, put this together. And of course, if I wanted to now, I'd say, all right, well, I've made this quick little library, this quick little assembly, if you will, this layout of what we've done. If I wanted to add more to it, as I've shown you before, there's many more things I could add that are here. Lots of different robots. If I decided that, in fact, we need one more thing, check this out. Again, push and pull. I'm using IronCAD, so I can change anything that's here. This is silly, Bobby. I want that to be 35. Yeah, there we go. And why did I want to do that? Well, because I need a tooling shed. There's my tooling shed. Rotate the tooling shed 180. Where do I want it to be? Well, I want the back corner. Okay, and this is really, really neat for me. Just grab this back edge here, and now I want this corner to be, to be right over. Yep, that's where I want it, right over here against this. So it's tucked up there against that. Good. And I've got my tooling shed into place, so I can do things like that. All right, done with it, everything that we want. And now what if I want to lay this out? What if I wanted to create a drawing? Well, here's a neat idea. Just coming into a standard drawing sheet. And RJ, on this one, you'd recommend that if I do this, just do a quick view from the top, right?
Yeah, that'll work. You didn't save the scene yet.
Silly me. Go ahead and save it. You're right, I have to save it, don't I?
Yeah.
And I'm just going to call it Webinar Factory. Not a very good factory yet, but so while that's just saving, it's pretty quick save. This is what we've done. We created structures by using mechanical built-in, the architectural and mechanical catalog. So you've seen me put in pipes, you've seen me build all these railings, and we created, and now I can share this work easily. And some of the things that I've been able to show people, which I think are really kind of neat, that's saved. So let me go into my drawing and give me a quick view. Yep, I want it from the scene. Hey RJ, what's a quick way to? I didn't do a front view definition. I should have, shouldn't I?
Hit reset. And now you can just rotate the view to what you want.
And it's perfect, man. Thank you. And it's set to quick. So yeah, I get what you're saying. So the idea is, I can just take this, boom, lay it out, and there I've got my, And again, everyone that has watched me do this, I did not. I mean, I really wasn't very careful about how I did it. I'm just throwing things in, and that's kind of neat. It's really, really fast. And I didn't do a bill of material on this, but isn't there a quick way to count the parts that I've got in here, RJ? I thought there was somewhere.
Yeah, under the mechanical tools.
Thanks, man.
Count parts right there.
So we did 1,833. No, that's not huge, but it was really kind of neat. So I did want to share one other thing with y'all. This is I've been excited to show this to you today. I'm really excited as well about what we're going to be doing. Let me just see, was that oh, I don't know, lots of different examples of things that I put together, but that was not what I wanted to show you. So let me end this up real quick. So as a review, you've seen all of these different things. This is what I wanted to show you today. And I've made a lot of use of the tribal, because what that has let me do, and I want everyone to please be aware of one thing that you've seen today. I didn't ever go and hunt for commands. Everything I did was based on a heads up approach. So every time I was working on these things, and I was, if I was making changes to stuff, if I was altering things live, as you can see here, of course, I'm altering this and you're watching it change as, so I'm changing the way this works, which is kind of neat, so I never once went up here to look for, gosh, I wonder where something is. And I think that's a really important point. It's a heads up system. It's like driving a jet fighter. I can actually see what I'm doing and I concentrate on that. So how do we teach it? We want to make your design life easy. We have lots of webinars that are available. The IronCAD Academy, the Learning Center is online. For this particular webinar, I'd really like to thank Henrik again from Makarnet in Sweden for providing these catalogs. They're absolutely marvelous work, and I appreciate that. This is your IronCAD team. We have more than 255,000 users around the world. We've been more than 20 years, and we've got a lot of leadership. We have an international reseller community that tops 165 people. Next week, I'm really saying, what are you waiting for? This is a pretty, we're going to help you make this happen. So at this point, RJ, I'm excited to say that we do have a really neat webinar coming our way on next week. We're working on showing the finite element stuff. So, I'll be bringing, so I don't even know, I got one here. This is a quick example of some of the things that we're going to be showing. This was, an example of FEA on a cardboard structure. And, if I wanted to look at this type of thing and say, go ahead and solve this for me. Are you the fellow that I want? Yep. I believe this is there it is. And we're going to be showing this kind of thing where, I'm actually showing some, let me just change that contour setup because it's wrong. I want to show the equivalent stress of this part. And that's what we're going to be showing. So you can see some kind of interesting work on the FEA. And that's for next week, where we turn boxes into breathing devices. That's weird. All right. Questions. I'm more than happy to accept questions.
All right. Give me 1 second to respond to this. Okay.
This is a great example.
We have a lot of good questions today. So
wonderful.
The first question comes from Randy. He asked how everything was being placed and that it was automatically at the floor level. And the way that works is when the parts and assemblies are created, if you'll show them the anchor point on one of the parts.
Absolutely. Let me bring it in and I'll get there. So for example, if we want to focus on something like this, we want to focus on this area specifically. I've got a part here. And what's interesting is that the receiving table has an anchor point right here.
No, that's the attachment point. The anchor point's at the bottom of the.
Sorry. Oh, you're right. Yep. Well, yeah, the anchor point is right down here. So the table itself is going, no matter what, when I bring this table in, this particular table, when I bring the table in, just the table, and I'll be able to show that this way. Let's go look at it. So we're just looking at the table now, which is simple. And what every one of our parts has what's called an anchor point. And this is the anchor right down here. And this anchor says I'm allowed to drag along a surface. If it were set to drag freely in space, when I brought it in, it wouldn't snap. You know, it wouldn't snap to something. And what was interesting about the way that I worked, and I can't do not update, don't argue with me. If I'm working with something very simple, and simple would be, I don't know, just, you know, give me a little foundational part just like this. Here's a very simple part that I've started a new scene. And by the way, the first time that you drag a part, it automatically drops that part at 0, 0, 0. That's the first time it does that. Now, if I want to bring something in and put it on here, if I place this on this top face, you can see that anchor point that we looked at before, it dropped it right onto the top face. Okay? Any of these things, if I were to grab this one and put it on, it's wherever that anchor point is located, it dropped the anchor directly onto the top face. Does that answer the question?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
He asked about the forklift, the path of the forklift. If you'll talk just real quick about how you created that with a 3D curve, right?
Well, what was done is that this was saved. Okay, this was saved with. In other words, if I go and look at the anti truck right here, this was actually saved. Henrik actually saved this with, you know, the animation was saved with the truck, so that if I wanted to show in visualization what the animation, it's already got its path. And what is really neat about, you know, you can actually save any of these, or if I just show you a really quick one and do something really quick so you can see it. It's very easy to do. If I just grab this plate again and simply take any one of these, you know what? I'm going to animate a silly shape. You don't even give me a shape. And I'm just going to put a slot. And oh, it's a very little slot. 15 by 10. Oh gosh. Never mind. I'm being silly here. It's trying to do something, and I'm getting myself in trouble on something I shouldn't. Oh, it's because I work metric. That's why. All right. Very simple shape. Hey, by the way, I grabbed that and made it part of this. Do you know? Is there a way for me to simply? Because I just want to add. This was all part of this. Is there a way to separate this out?
IronCAD Mechanical does have a tool, but I'm not familiar with how to use it, so I'd have to play with that a little bit.
Okay, no worries. You know, when I do that, so forget it. I'm going to be lazy here. Whenever I put in a part like this, you can see I just dropped it in. What if I want to slide this across this plate? Well, in the visualization, anytime I want, if I highlight a part, here's an idea, I can add a path to that. And what's important to know is that this is the height, length, width. If I want to move it along the length, that's what I'm going to do right now. Or move it on the width. I'm going to move the width right now. Look what it does. I'm going to say move along the width direction. Move, I don't know why I'm an inch. I'm an inch. Move, 50 inches. And do it over 10 seconds, okay? So all I've done is create a little path here that's going to move. It's nothing. It's just a movement. All right? Dead easy, right? But to answer the question that came in, well, once I've got that there, by the way, I can do anything I want with this path. Watch what happens now. I'm going to put in my tri-ball. Nah, I don't want it to end there. I want it to end over here. Okay? And I want to insert a key right here. So now what have I done? Oh, I'm going to have my path moving all over the place. And I'm going to insert another key right here. And that one, I'm going to move that one over here. And I want the tri-ball, I want this guy right there to turn a little bit like this for fun. So what did I just do? Turn the animation on. Meow, meow. All right. So
Lord
I
help
never
me.
worry about, whoever, I don't know the gentleman's name, but I never worry anymore about how easy or hard it is. All I ever do is come in here, I create a single path. I just say add a path. I don't really care what it is. I just don't want it to be a spin. Okay. So because once I've created that, I got something I can edit. And you just have to touch on that point, bring in your tri-ball, and now I can move with impunity. And this idea that I can insert these keys, and this was really neat. Thanks again to Henrik, who showed me this. And of course, this stuff snaps to geometry, and you can change things dramatically. I want this to dump out here, So what's going to happen is, we did this, meow, and now it's dumping. I didn't do it very carefully. So there's lots you can do with that. And of course, you can go in 3D and you can add all sorts of other things that make, and all of these can be saved with the model. So on this particular one, since I noticed there was an issue here, I'm going to go in and I'm going to actually alter it so that it doesn't hit the floor, as you can see. And if I want to be very clever with it, as you can, anytime I want, I don't like the way that forklift is moving, I just come in here and say, well, I want it to move like this. And so I'm really controlling the way it drives through my factory. The same thing is true of any of the robots, because I can have full robot movement and things like that.
Okay. Excellent answer. By the way, less coffee before the webinars.
You can tell, right?
All right. So the next question comes from, again, I apologize if I mispronounce, Yaroslav. He said, is it possible to drop same parts from a catalog as linked parts? And the answer is yes. What you see us do in our demonstrations for the most part is a single scene environment. However, there is an option to use externally linked files where you can create a part, save it as an externally linked file, and put it into the catalog. And then those parts will always be linked together. So it is possible to do that, and definitely your reseller can help you with some information if you have additional need to know how to do that. But yes, it is possible to do that. Mohammed asked about the libraries. Could you talk just real quick about the libraries, where you got them from? And he was curious about the machine library in particular, where you got that from or how it was created.
Well, every library, and now are we talking the IronCAD mechanical libraries, which are the ones that we use to create the stairs and the pipes? Those are purchased libraries that come from IronCAD, and they are actually quite amazing because they've got it's a full pipe library that exists, the architectural library. In fact, some of these are quite marvelous because some of the libraries, I mean, you can come in and you could do some very, very interesting things with them. For example, these they're just built using IronCAD parts. I mean, there's nothing.
I think
there's nothing.
He's referring to the libraries that you used in the demo, like the one.
Well, I used all of these. This was the library that I used because I used the pillars. I used all the mechanical library to create the stairs.
Yeah. Now, what about the libraries that you created for the demo, not the standard library?
All of those as well. So the ones that were used for the demo, for example, when I started, when I started out, I wanted to show you all the library that I had created, and that this is, for example, my IronCAD USA library, and I use this one because I can, I can have different things that I use to create demos. For example, that's my IronCAD USA, and people can get these from us. We share these with us. The robot Fanuc library came from one of our customers, and we have some of these available to share. Okay, so that was the Fanuc robot, the ABB robot. We're going to actually make these available for customers as well. And then there are other libraries that I've used in here. This happens to be one of our customers' libraries. It's the and it includes all of the trucks and things like that. It includes people. I even have a library now. If I were to come in and say, let me just open up a factory real quick, why not? Give me a factory in progress, but it's read-only. Okay, I don't know why you read only, but I don't care. So these were all of these parts, and this is really important for whoever is watching this, all of these parts, there is nothing about them that is magic. There's nothing magic at all. All of the parts that have been created, everything that I showed you this morning, by that way, that's the load time on library that I built before. It had different styles and components and layouts. I've been working with lots of different things, and as you can see, different textures, different people. But you can also have libraries like this where you can import anything that you would want into this. For example, this silly this electrical cabinet came from the webinar that we did the other day. And then there's other libraries like this, for example, where I can do lots of things where this guy is busy trying to fix something, okay? And while he's trying to do it, and here's the snap points again, his girlfriend is watching and she's kind of mad because he's not getting it done quick enough. And then this dude comes over and he represents Donald Trump. And sorry, before I get myself into trouble.
Yeah. So Mohammed followed up with, can he create his own library? And yes, libraries.
I did this morning. I did that live. Like, yeah. I actually changed my own, the parts that were here. When I went in to this, I believe it was this one. Hang on for a sec. When I went into this library here, I actually changed as I was going. You watched me do that, Mohammed. When I came in, I actually came in and I added the mezzanine. I added, I created something and then I quickly stored it in my library. Anything that I create, I can pick it up, move it into my library, and anything that's in the library, I can instantly go in and say, edit that. And we have a special mechanism to edit the catalog parts that allow us to change them and improve them, and then go and then use that in a new part. Okay, so here I am. This silly little part that I'm working on was, it's a little sketch that I put on a face to show people that we could do that. And if I don't like the way it works, or if there's something I don't want with it now, I say I can come in anytime, change this, okay, alter. Oh, I didn't want this to be this long. There's my sketch, And now I've fixed it. I can say, okay, go ahead. I'm not going to save it. And then it's saved for use in something else.
So just to kind of help as well, if you will take your catalog sidebar and drag that sidebar out a little bit, right on the side of it, make it wider, make the catalog wider. There you go. Okay, so Mohammed, what you'll see at the top is the new open, save, and close. If you select the option for new, you can create a new catalog. And then what you can do is you can start dragging components into, whether it's a part or an assembly, a feature. We support all three of those, features, parts, and assemblies in a catalog. Once you start creating that new catalog, then you can save it. And you asked about the file type, and it does save all of our catalogs are .icc files. So that should hopefully clear up that about creating the new catalogs.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
The next question comes from Randy again. Okay, so Randy's asking about changing the materials on the railings to different sizes. Randy,
yeah.
this feature is brand new, and I myself have not had a chance to test. Right now, currently, there's a handful of different items in there. I do know that we are working to develop other standards, and I will call you later, and I will test as far as changing the materials to round rails, etc., and let you know how that works. So, like I said, this is a brand new feature.
I do. I just want to turn off stupid. I don't know. I actually don't know why my. Oh, and by the way, here, Randy, I don't know if you noticed that, but I decided to pick up and just save my welding dude. So, that was how, I decided before that I would just pick up my welder and drop him into this new scene. So, there he is from that catalog that you and I just created. But I think what's important about using this, there's a lot of capability in this. If I, oops, sorry, wrong button. If I go in here and say, yeah, go ahead, add on properties, I could have, of course, where the railing, there's lots of choices for railing. So I'm going to just go in and build a different rail. You'll see now. Let me see. Are you going to let me do that? The railings. Oh, the handrail. Sorry, handrail. I don't know. I should have lots of different examples of these. But yeah, I've done. See, this is now. I changed it to square.
Right, but I think he's talking about changing it to a custom sizes that are not currently in the catalogs.
Well, you can do that automatically right here. What I've done is, I believe, there is a way to do that, and I'm just looking at it now. Kick strip, inner handrails. Yeah, I know there was a way to, especially on. If I look at the railings, I know you can do that on the stairs, of course, because the stairs you can actually build, you can build your own, this type of thing, where you can actually build your own directly in here. Is that the kind of thing you're looking for, Randy?
Well, I know what he's looking for. He's talking about, like, here in the States, we use 1.25 inch, 1.5 inch diameter handrail. Round handrail is standard, and those aren't currently available in there. And I have been working to create some ANSI standards with U.S. information. So, but there's some work that you have to do to make sure that attachment points stay correctly, etc. Okay. But we'll work on getting some answers on that, definitely.
Great.
Randy again asked, how did you drag that man around without the tripod? That
was part of what I was talking about before, Randy, is that if I'm working and I'm just dragging these things like the man or any of these, it was kind of neat. There's two ways to drag. So if I want to grab people and I'm just dropping my person here, as you know, I have the ability to just, I'm hitting the top plane of this. That's one way to do it. But I decide sometimes if you just come in and grab a shoe, you can move any, and there's a lot of stuff like that. There are a lot of things that if the anchor is allowed to drag, see that anchor right there? This anchor is allowed to drag along surfaces. If I disallow it, then it's popped in space. But any of the things that are, anything you create with IronCAD, you can use the tri-ball as I'm showing you. But most things, you can just grab them and move them. And that's why it makes it really easy to set something up, that I'm going to set up a control that, now I will use the tri-ball to, put this at 45 degrees and this guy is the controller for the whole factory. So now I just want to put him into position there, maybe turn him around. But it's really a neat, easy way. Any of these people, you know, any component can be easily dragged, you know, just to make these last final little looks. All right.
All right. The last item up for bid, unless anybody else has some other questions, and it's more of a suggestion, and I do agree, it's from Charlie, that he would like us to go ahead and do a webinar to go over attachment points, how to create them, how to name them, as well as, you know, talking about the anchor points, what they do, how they're relative to the scene, etc. So, Charlie, we will definitely work on putting a webinar together for those advanced features and how to create them and how to use them.
Absolutely right, RJ, because the whole concept of these webinar series is make my design life easy, make my life easy. And that's, we're trying to show, you know, when I make a claim like learn IronCAD quickly, cut in less than a week, and design twice as fast as SolidWorks, I mean it. Like I can sit down, I would challenge anybody, you know, to be able to do the kinds of things that we did this morning as quickly as we did it. There's no way, because we've only been at it for an hour or so, and we've done a lot of work. And I was very careful, folks, with everything I did here. I was, you know, I had not put a lot of this kind of work into it, but that, you know, because we can get some real, if you'll notice now, I'm making this thing really beautiful. So, you know, we can get some great rendering, and without a huge amount of effort, I've come in and quite quickly said, okay, well, you know, go ahead, give this thing to me and let me see this display as it would be. There's, you know, and I've got nice shadows happening here. It's really a beautiful system. And if I come in and give me a quick, you know, background. I don't know what we'll do. I don't know. Do I have anything? Yeah. I don't really care. Don't argue with me. Oh, it's angry. No big deal. I'm not going to waste your time on that kind of thing. But, you know, lots of rendering and some really kind of interesting things that you can do with the product. Okay.
All right. We have another gentleman. And I think it's a question. Automation on placing a ladder will be possible. So I think during our webinar that we will produce on attachment points, you will see how we can use multiple attachment points on the same product where you can automate that process. If you have 3 openings in a platform and you wanted stairs on one, you want a ladder on another, then you could do that through attachment points. So when we do that webinar, I believe that question will be better answered at that point. So, but yeah, there is automation that can be put in for placing them automatically. And that's it. Those are our questions for today.
Well, I'm super excited. It's been a really fun webinar. Like I've enjoyed it a lot, and I you know, I hope you all did too. And by the way, what I just did is I decided to radically change my entire design of what, and it's gone in, and I said, well, no, this is a factory. Therefore, in a factory, I need steel stairs, and it's gone into my design. And in these few seconds that we're talking, RJ, it's changed all the stairs out. It's put in my wire, I don't even know what you call these, and it's drilling all the holes for all the bolts that go in. So my cut list later is going to have all of this work done. So very quick, if you just see, if I just look at this part that we just created, you know, it has now all of the holes drilled. So, you know, very quickly, I made some radical changes to this design, which is, that's kind of neat. That shows some real power right there as well.
Yep.
Well, this has been a lot of fun for me. And, you know, you mentioned some coffee. So this lets me end this webinar.
Oh my gosh.
All right, I won't say anymore. Guys, thank you so much. This was super fun. And RJ, as you said, I promise to be very careful and limit the coffee. Folks, thank you all for a great time. I enjoyed it. And thanks for being interested in IronCAD. Bye, y'all.
Thanks, Bobby.